Entrepreneurs come to me when they think they've hit a business ceiling. Now, here's the thing. You haven't hit a business ceiling. You have hit an invisible ceiling. Now, the reason I am so confident and I can say that is because the business ceiling, whether it's 100K a month, $500,000 a month, $1 million a month, or even 30 or 50K a month, is all in your mind. And the invisible ceiling, which is in your mind, is what you need to break through. So in this video, what I'm going to do is share how you can break through this ceiling. But first, I want to tell you a story, and this story is why I created Straight Line Entrepreneur. Now, I've been in rooms with 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs. I've had dinner with them, I've gone out and partied with them, and I always wanted to ask them one question. So whenever the dinner stopped or the party quieted down and I really got honest and asked them, hey, like, what was the key ingredient to your success? I thought initially, naive me, they were going to talk about a funnel or the way they scripted their VSL or some crazy 20 onboarding email sequence, all of the business tactics, right? I was just sat there waiting for the funnel reveal. And the honest answer is, and this is what they told me, and it's what I've realized with myself in my journey, is it's not the funnel. It's not anything business tactic related. It almost always comes down to the internal work, the person they became, how they upgraded their identity. And this story, which I've just shared with you, is the same across any entrepreneur I've met. Now, consciously or unconsciously, they have gone through the process which I'm about to share with you. So if that's excited you and you're on the edge of your seat, what I'm going to do is share just the one 15-minute daily practice which will contribute to your success. Here's the thing. You haven't hit a business ceiling. You have hit an internal ceiling. And when I talk to entrepreneurs, whether it's 7, 8, 9 figures, and we're in a room together privately, they reveal and answer honestly the same thing. Because it wasn't the success of their systems, the business tactics, or their funnels, or any of this stuff, which was the key determinant of their success. They didn't need more discipline. They didn't need more hard work. What they needed is what I'm about to share with you. And this is a simple daily practice which allows you to upgrade your identity. And what I'm going to do in today's video is share this daily practice and reveal the work finally so you can actually grow as an entrepreneur, expand and break through your business ceiling, which is really an internal ceiling, and then scale your business. And not just, by the way, scale your business, but actually expand and elevate your life. Because what I've found from my private work with my clients and myself with my business and just everyone I've spoke to who's an entrepreneur is that if you're a 10 out of 10 with financial freedom, right, with business, and you score yourself a 10 out of 10, but then your health is declining, you don't have relationship freedom, you're not going to be happy, you're not going to be fulfilled, you're not going to feel successful. So that's why there's 10 areas in life, 10 freedoms, let's just say. And what I'm going to do in this video is show you the daily practice. I'm going to reveal the way you can expand your freedom across all of your life, not just your business. And then finally, I'm going to invite you to take the next step, which is to book a call with myself. Now, look, if you're watching this video right now and you want to click away, then I know that you're not serious and you're not ready for this work, and there's no judgment from me. If you're not ready, if you still think that it's the system, the tactic, that there's a funnel out there, you need to join the next program and learn about how right now in 2025, moving into 2026, what you need to do is create a custom AI chatbot, or you need to do whatever it is, whatever the gurus online are telling you is the next business opportunity. I'm here to tell you that there will always be new opportunities. There will always be new tactics, new funnels, and new systems. But if you don't upgrade the operator yourself, then you will never be able to capitalize on those opportunities. Because here is the honest answer. And this is what took me years to understand. You can't outpace your internal operating system. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell is your internal operating system? You can break that down into your identity, your beliefs and thoughts, your feelings and emotions, and your intentions. Now, those are the invisible, right? They exist in here and even in your body. This determines your actions and behaviors, which then creates your results. This is what I call the COC, the causal operating chain. If you are not able to upgrade your causal operating chain, your internal operating system, then you will never be able to capitalize on the true opportunities and resources that these gurus are going to record videos at the end of 2025, coming into 2026 to sell you their programs. Now, I'm not saying this from a place of hate or a place of judgment. I still want you to grow your business, and I still want you to do everything that's required to grow your business. I have 2 businesses and I still implement systems, funnels. But what I am saying is that you don't need to make any wild changes in your business, change your niche, change your offer if you learn how to upgrade your internal operating system. And in this video, I'm going to show you the daily 15 to 20 minute practice that all my private clients go through. And what this does is it allows you to break through the ceiling and to raise your floor. Because for true transformation and true change, you need to not only upgrade and raise your ceiling, you also need to raise your floor. And this is the true transformation process. So with that out of the way, I'm now going to share this video. Now, what you're going to learn in this video is why you know what to do, but you can't do it. You're also going to learn that this is a daily repeatable practice that anyone can do. All it requires is that you follow the instructions. That's it. There's nothing complicated about this. It's not something that is esoteric. Like I'll see people in my, let's just call them niche, and their whole marketing is about how like these are the hidden secrets. Nobody knows about this. They've been passed down from generations and all that bullshit. I'm here to tell you that this is a daily practice which is transformed and evolved, but it is based on neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics, all the technical weird ways of saying like this actually works. But not only does it work, but it's available to normal practical entrepreneurs that are busy, that just want to grow their businesses, just want to spend more time with their loved ones, want to be healthy, want to enjoy their life. Like they don't want to spend 10 days at a silent retreat. They don't want to light incense and then go into the 5D world. Like you're a simple man like myself, and you actually want practical, grounded change. And that starts from within and then it manifests externally, but it doesn't require you to put on a robe. It doesn't require you to do any of the stuff that you see online from the woo-woo crowd. Now, with that rant out of the way, the next thing I'm going to teach you and show you is the invisible system. This invisible system is your internal operating system, and this runs your life. As I said, your internal operating system is your identity, your beliefs and thoughts, your feelings and emotions, and your intentions. That is the invisible. And then that creates the visible, which is your actions and then your results. Now, this is a causal chain. It runs from here to here. And what you'll find is if we focus on the invisible with a daily practice, then we can actually create the change through action and behavior, which then creates a desired result. That is it. It's a simple framework and methodology. I see so many people online get confused. They'll come to me and they say, I've read Reality Transurfing. I understand it, but like, Jordan, how do I do it? Like, how do I actually implement this? And I spent decades learning and growing, but like even like time spent understanding, well, how do I do the David Hawkins letting go? How do I do the Reality Transurfing? Like, how do I do all this stuff? Because it's so abstract and conceptual. And why is no one not just giving me the simple, grounded, follow these instructions? That's what I'm doing. The next thing that you're going to learn is really why tactics, coaching, and masterminds for business haven't worked, or they haven't worked to the extent that they need to. And again, I want to make this clear. You're still going to run your business and you're still going to implement, attend the masterminds, do what you want. Like have at it. Like, please, by all means, don't watch this video, implement anything I'm about to share you, or book a sales call and then think that you're going to sit in a room for 15 minutes, do this exercise, and then that's it. You have to, of course, ground yourself in reality and actually take action, and then that creates a result. But what I do want to get across is that the reason you are stuck right now, if I know you and I'm speaking directly to you, is because the business coaching, the masterminds and all of this have sold you either knowingly or unknowingly the lie that the only way to grow is more systems, more team, more knowledge, more education, just more. Like more of the business stuff. And you may still believe that, and that's fine. And I'm not here to change your beliefs, but what I can tell you, and I can promise you this, is I have spoken to the elite entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs that create these programs. I've gone to dinner with them, I've smoked cigars with them, I've been around them. And when I really ask them, like honestly, like man to man, like cut the bullshit, this is me speaking to you, what is the one thing which made everything else easier or unnecessary that was key to your success? If they're honest and they have integrity, they will tell you that it's what I'm teaching now. It's the internal work. But the key reason that no one has been able to develop a framework and coach and teach it is because of 2 reasons. One is because it's very, very difficult to run a business and to get people to do this work. That is an assumption, but it's what they believe. And the second thing is because they don't know how to teach it, guide, or coach someone through the process. I know how to do both. And that is what I'm showing you in this video. Now, I'm Jordan. I run Straightline Entrepreneur, and I'm just going to briefly share you my story. And what I want to get across here is that I have sat in the same chair as you. I've had the same thoughts as you, the same feelings and emotions, and I've been where you are. And what I discovered through my journey is that number one, I need to change. Like, if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? It sounds so simple saying it out loud, but whenever I felt stuck, I felt plateaued, I felt stalled, I knew that there was a requirement for me to change. Now, some people don't know that. They're victims and they believe that the world needs to change. They'll look outward, they'll look at their team, they'll look at the market, they'll basically look everywhere other than themselves. I've been blessed that from a young age, I internalized that I needed to change. Now, this is not a business story to begin with, but when I was 13, I moved schools. And when I moved schools, I basically got to create my own identity. And it was the most fulfilling, freeing experience of my life at that point, because my first school was rough. It was violent. I tried to stay and blend in. I got in trouble. Like, I was super academic, super intelligent, but like I got into a lot of trouble. And I didn't really get to enjoy that experience. But then I moved to a new school. And when I moved to the new school, I got to basically create my own character, like a video game character, right? Basically, I was like the Bruce Wayne equivalent, and I asked myself, well, like, who do I want to be? At the time, I loved Batman. I still do. It's like the only superhero that I love. I don't like the rest of them, but that's a story for another day. But what I'm getting at here is I got to create my own identity. And throughout my teens and my 20s, I have always shifted and upgraded my identity. And really, that is the key principle for you to begin with, which is identity-based transformation is the most effective. Now, the reason it is the most effective is because when you can upgrade who you are, this will automatically and consciously, through the daily practice I'm going to share with you, change your beliefs, upgrade them, let's just say, more empowering beliefs. Then it's also going to lock in these feelings and emotions, because it's a feedback loop, it's a causal chain. And then as part of your intentions, and when all of that is operating with flow and coherence, and it has high frequency, for lack of a better term, then you're going to create a clearer signal for the actual actions and behaviors, which then create your results. So first, I want you just to take a pause and ask yourself, who am I right now? Like, what identity am I reinforcing? Because you always have an identity. Like, I became a father 6 months ago, right? That is an identity. And as part of that identity, I didn't even have to think about it. Like, my wife carried our daughter for 9 months, and then she arrived. I am now a dad. That is an identity. I am a dad. But the key part here is not just I am a dad, but what type of dad? Like, who am I? And the daily practice allows you to consciously choose and create the identity and lock it in the present moment. And then through the daily practice, which you'll see when I share a bit more about it, is you have an I am statement. And what my clients do is they have a series of I am statements, and these map to their life and the different areas, because there's around 10 freedoms, and those 10 freedoms of life, whether it's financial, time, location, relationship, and so forth, allow you to create your I am statements. But the thing to understand here is that when I changed my identity at the age of 13, this was my first real experience of identity rewiring. And this set the journey, and it really set the train of thought for me to understand that, like, I can be whoever I want to be. Not only can I be whoever I want to be, I can be whoever I choose to be. And this is easy to forget. When life gets difficult, when business growth stalls, we forget about the innate power that every human has, by the way. But I focus on entrepreneurs, but everyone has this. And we're programmed and conditioned to forget this power, which is that we are infinite as humans. And as a byproduct of being infinite, and especially here on this earth right now, and I know I'm getting a bit too woo-woo, you are able to become who you want to be. So who do you want to be? Like, it's in like, what type of business do you want? Even the specific stuff, which you don't have to get into and map out in this daily practice, but you can get into it further down the line. Like, what clothes do you wear? Like, what watch do you have? What car do you drive? Like, and those are more material, and it doesn't have to just be material. But what I want to kind of start and encourage you to understand here is, like, well, who do you choose to be? Like, it's as simple as that. Like, when you go watch a film, or you watch a TV show, or you read a book and you read and learn about another character, you're learning about someone else's story, right? But you're the hero of your own story. You are the main character. So here, like, who do you choose to be? But fast forward to my late 20s, and I hit my rock bottom. Now, you don't have to hit a rock bottom, and that is the good news. And this is something I really care about with my clients, which is, like, you don't need to hit a rock bottom to change. You don't need to change from pain. I often say to people, my big change was because the pain of staying the same was greater than the pain of change. Now, you don't need to do that, especially not now that you have a video like this. You have have a program like Straight Line Entrepreneur if you want to join, and you have someone like myself that can truly guide you through the process. When I actually hit my rock bottom, the level of clarity was just amazing, because I finally looked in the mirror and said, I need to change. And there was no judgment, there was no shame, there was no guilt. It was just true clarity. And from 30 to 31, that was the first, or at least the most accelerated transformation cycle I had. And this is what started Straight Line Entrepreneur. Because on paper, if you look at the before and the after, it's crazy. Like, and I had people that say to me, like, how did you change? Like, how did you do it? And that's why I've developed this. But at 30, I was basically fat. I'd gotten fat, wasn't dating anyone. I was pretty much celibate, right? It was the pandemic. I was working a job that I hated. I knew I wanted to start a business. Now, that job was a 6-figure salary, but it was still a job that I hated. And I was back living with my parents. Now, I don't need to get into the full details, but let's just say I was meant to move to the US, couldn't get a visa. So I was temporarily at my parents at the age of 30. So like, I'm sharing and being vulnerable here and letting you know that like, hey, like I didn't have this all figured out. Okay. And I don't ever want to tell the lie that I'm this guru that has always had an amazing life. Just as you want to take advice and you want to take guidance from someone that's actually been through the transformation and change and knows it step by step, that was me. I changed my identity and I done all of this, but I hadn't figured out how do I sustain this transformation and then keep unlocking and growing and elevating. Because once you understand the framework that I teach in my program, which is Arise, so step 1, we have assess, then we have rewire, and then we have integrate, and then we have strengthen, and then we have elevate and embody. But all of that to say that because I was struggling and I'd hit rock bottom, I realized that like everything I'm doing is not working and it's not sustainable. So from 30 to 31, my life completely transformed. Went from fat to 6-pack, met my wife, now the mother of our daughter. I started my business, multiple 6-figure business, my first business. And I'd spent some of my 20s going through all the ways that people look to change. And then by 30, I transformed. By 31, I'd locked in that transformation. And it's been a continued cycle. And I'm not telling you this story to bore you or to brag or any of this stuff. What I want to get across here is that like I have tried everything. And I can honestly tell you what works and what doesn't work. Now, obviously, I'm talking from my direct experience and this is wisdom of myself, but having worked with clients and having most of my friends are entrepreneurs, like 6, 7, even 8-figure entrepreneurs. Like I speak to entrepreneurs daily and I understand the challenges they have. And there are so many ways that we look to change and grow our business. And I'll just quickly run through them just to make it simple. One is therapy. The issue with therapy is that number 1 is focused on the past. Number 2, therapy is very good at giving you a map. An understanding, right? Imagine you're in Rome and you're on a vacation with your wife or your girlfriend and you have a map of Rome. That's great. Like you know where the Colosseum is, you know where all the landmarks are, you know where the nearest Starbucks or McDonald's is or whatever bougie restaurant your wife wants to go to. But you know the map, you know how to get from point A to point B, but it's just a map. You haven't actually walked the map. Like you don't know how to go through the cities of Rome and you don't know like where everything is. Like it's just a map. Now, the issue with having a map is you now know what to do or where to go, but you haven't actually done it. You haven't gone through the paradigm to understand it. So therapy is incredibly effective at giving you a map, especially a map of your mind or at least like your behavior and thought patterns. The next one is mindset work. Now, a lot of people say, hey, Jordan, like, are you a mindset coach? And the honest answer is no, because like mindset is just your thoughts. And it's very surface level and there's so much to transformation and your internal operating system is not just your thoughts. And also like more importantly, it's like if you change your thoughts, like, well, what is the underlying code, which is your beliefs and then your identity that sits under that? Because you can change your thoughts, you can think positively, you can reframe your thoughts, you can even do like some form of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. But if you have an identity which is stuck and it's not aligned with the upgraded path, then you're just going to revert back to your current identity, the safe identity. The next one is the whole productivity paradigm. And entrepreneurs here get stuck. They build out the complex Notion databases. And when I say they, I've gone through all of this. It's not like I'm better than you. It's not like I'm judging you. I'm just sharing my experience, what I see with my clients. The issue with a lot of productivity is it's one about doing more. So it's like very efficient, not necessarily very effective, but all the productivity coaches, all the productivity systems, requires a lot of work. Most entrepreneurs, like they may enjoy some of it, but like, you know, like we're running businesses here. Like we're not like nerding out on our Notion structures, or we're not like whatever the coolest project management, task management is at the moment. Like you still do those things, but like that is not going to solve your true core problem, which is you're looking to change and grow. You want to break through your revenue ceiling, which is actually an invisible ceiling. It's not going to be down to the Notion system you use. It's not going to be down to, like at this point now, like I can't even put myself into the mindset of a productivity person because it's just so far removed from where I'm at. But few years ago, definitely. Like I used to follow all of it. Like I'd read so many books on productivity. I'd created so many systems. I'd done all that sort of stuff. And what I found was like it requires a lot of work to keep. Often it's best to find someone in your business that handles the operations, especially once you're looking to scale past 100K a month. But just in general, like you're the CEO, you're the entrepreneur, like you're the visionary, like whatever your current identity is and your upgraded path is, all of that to say productivity. Either way, I was stuck. Like all of these ways of basically solving your problem or solving my problems at the time, whatever they were at that time, just didn't work. Now, the other one to bear in mind is the path of the spirituality, the woo-woo, the manifestation, the law of abundance, the secret. It's, I'm just going to think positive. I'm going to visualize everything. Now, it's actually really effective. Like if you truly understand visualization and manifestation, you understand the difference between the 3D reality and 5D reality, and you actually understand how to change. And it's supported by the actual latest scientific research into quantum physics, neuroscience, neuroimmunology. There's a key difference between someone that understands the mechanism of change, both the science and then the practical versus someone that understands the conceptual and the more spiritual side. So those are the many ways that you may look to explore. What I teach is practical. It's grounded, easy to follow, and it's idiot proof. It's for entrepreneurs that are probably at the moment, especially you, if I know my audience and I know my customers, time poor, or at least they feel they're time poor. You have money, you have a growing business. Now it's probably not at the level you want it to be, but you have money. Like, so you're not broke, right? And you also don't want to spend 20 hours like going through a course and a program to understand this. I once invested in a program, and you'll know the guy online who runs his program, and he had a mindset module program week that was like hours and hours. And his whole thing was, I've spent months building this. I have gone through, created this unique, original way, and I have explored it fully for you. And I want you to go through this. Now, I will give him one thing. It was a beginner program, or at least he sold it as a beginner program. And beginners do need a lot more education, but there's a big difference between education and transformation. But either way, he had this super long program, but then he also had like a super long mindset module. My clients don't get any of that. They get a few resources, they get the daily training, they have 2 calls with me. We have the assessment call, and then we have the rewire call, and then you're locked in. You have private DM, WhatsApp access to me, ask questions, give feedback, and then I let you go. Like you do your daily training, you run your business, you interact with your life, you grow and expand, and then we check in. Maybe it's 30 days, maybe it's 90 days, and you say, hey, Jordan, I'm ready for the next cycle. I'm ready for my next assessment, my next rewiring call, and then you keep going. The goal here is for you to be able to do it simply, and then for you to be able to run your business and live your life. It's not for you to need to do an hour and a half meditation every day. It's not for you to need to watch 10 hours of mindset modules just to understand how to change. Change transformation, which is long, sustainable, and repeatable, does not require you to spend hours understanding and learning. It's training. And the key part of training, and this is how I talk to my clients and explain it to them, is it's like the gym. Like you go to the gym, and when you first go to gym, obviously you don't know anything. You don't know how to lift. You don't know any of the exercises. You might hire a personal trainer like myself, right? And I'm going to teach you the form. I'm going to teach you the exercises. And then I'm going to let you do the exercises, and I may correct your form, give you some feedback. I'll give you your program, and then you follow your program. And when you follow your program, you're going to consistently practice that skill, whether it's CrossFit, bodybuilding, powerlifting, and you have a desired outcome in mind. Maybe you want to lift, I don't know, like 3x your body weight in deadlift, or you want to get ready for a show and you're a natural bodybuilder, or you want to compete in the next High Rocks, whatever it is, you have a desired outcome in mind. My clients come to me, they have a desired outcome. I want to break through this revenue ceiling, or I want to be able to live with more certainty, clarity, and power in my business. And then this shows up in whatever. Like there's so many ways that clients come to me, but what they almost always want is growth, feeling, and it is a feeling, by the way, like feeling clear, certain, and powerful. And they also want to be able to trust in themselves and not be reliant on coaches, programs, all the systems, all the stuff where they then just like always looking outside of themselves for answers to grow their business and live their life. And they also want to be 10 out of 10 in every area of life. Now, that's obviously not realistic. And when you come in and you do the assessment, you'll probably put yourself at like a 4 out of 10 on mental freedom, and you explain why. Maybe your financial freedom's an 8 out of 10, like whatever it is when you go through and do all this. But my point is that you want to be able to have a expansive life. You don't want to just be a 10 out of 10 in financial, but then like a 2 out of 10 in health and a 4 out of 10 in relationship freedom. Like that isn't going to sustain you, and that's not what you want. Now, if you want that, if you want to be a one-dimensional entrepreneur, then obviously click away and don't keep watching this video, because I just don't think that leads to a happy, fulfilled life. So it didn't for me. So why would I guide people through a process which is going to lead them unhappy and is going to lead them back to where they are in the same place? So all of that to say that those are the kind of like different ways to explore. Now let's talk about your internal operating system. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move to my laptop and I'm going to go through the actual internal operating system and I'm going to break it down. Now, your internal operating system operates on a causal chain, and it goes like this: identity, beliefs, emotions, behaviors, results. Now, everything starts at the top, which is your identity. Who you believe you are determines what you believe is possible. What you believe is possible determines how you feel. How you feel determines what actions you take, and your actions create your results. So if you want to change your results, you can't just change your actions. That requires willpower, and willpower runs out. You have to change who you are at the source. And this is the daily training that I teach. So the easiest story to understand identity is Batman. Now, if you've watched Batman or you haven't watched Batman, I think we all know that Bruce Wayne is not actually Batman. Now, he may put on the costume, he may fight, he may save crime, but he is Bruce Wayne. Batman is an identity. It is an archetype. It is an ideal. It is something that people, including Bruce Wayne, believe in. And the power of Batman is not in the physical person, Batman, Bruce Wayne, but the ideal, the vision, what it represents, the symbolism. Now, with your identity, take Bruce Wayne as an example. He upgraded his identity and became Batman. He is Batman. He's synonymous with Batman. The thing to understand here about identity is the fastest way to change is to upgrade your identity. So when Bruce Wayne wanted to save Gotham, fight crime, and actually make a difference, he created Batman. And Batman evolved, whether you read the comics or graphic novels or watch the films, there's always like a new storyline and all of this. But my point is, Batman is the best way to understand identity change, because Bruce Wayne learned martial arts, ninjutsu, jiu-jitsu, but like he basically figured out, what do I need to learn, acquired skills. He updated his appearance, got a better costume, got a better suit. All of this type of behaviors and everything he did was downstream from Batman, the identity. So when you want to change, the fastest way to do that is to upgrade your identity. So right now as an entrepreneur, you might identify as the overworked operator. And a lot of my clients do, and I've been there. You are just fighting fires, you wake up, you feel that just tension in your chest, you check your Slack, you check your WhatsApp, you look at your funnels, you check your emails, or even maybe you have a team and a team are reporting back to you and they're providing updates. But either way, you identify as an overworked operator. Just take that as an identity. Now that is an I am statement. And then you have beliefs, feelings and emotions, and even actions and behaviors. And those are determining your results in life. What if instead of being an overworked operator, you were a visionary, or you were a portfolio holder and you invested in company, like whatever the new identity is, instead of overworked operator, you can choose consciously to create that identity. And then that becomes the thing that you lock in. So as I mentioned, I'm going to show you now the identity change. But Batman really is the best way to understand it. And that's why I like to start there. So as I said, if I give you an analogy, this will make it click. Bruce Wayne can't do what Batman does. Not because Bruce Wayne lacks the skills. He's trained, he's intelligent, he's capable, but Bruce Wayne isn't built for it. He has to become someone else first. He has to adopt a completely different identity, different beliefs, different emotional states, different behavioral patterns. This is what entrepreneurs miss. They keep trying to force Batman level results while running Bruce Wayne's internal operating system. What Bruce Wayne did was he upgraded his internal operating system. They have the strategy, they have the skills, they understand the game. You are here right now and you have the strategy, you have the skills, you have the knowledge. However, you can't execute consistently because the man running the business, you, wasn't built for the level that you're trying to reach. Easiest way to understand this is in your business, you are always the bottleneck. As the entrepreneur, as the founder, as the operator, you are the bottleneck. Most people think the bottleneck is their systems. They think it's something to do with their funnel. They think it's something to do with their team and the dynamics. And obviously all of that stuff matters. And I don't want to come across that like it doesn't matter. It obviously does, but all of that is downstream from you as the operator, you as the entrepreneur. So that Batman analogy really encapsulates the identity change. So now let me show you why everything else has failed or it hasn't worked the way you wanted it to, and why this approach is different. You see, the old way of upgrading and changing is mindset coaching. Mindset work focuses on your thoughts, but your thoughts are downstream of identity. They're symptoms, not the source. You can try to think positive all you want, but if your identity hasn't changed, those new thoughts won't stick. You'll revert under pressure. Mindset work treats symptoms, and identity rewiring is what rewrites the source code. Business coaching, the old way. You've already tried the strategies. You've learned the funnels, the content systems, the sales frameworks. You know more than enough to be further ahead than you are. The way to think about this, and it's what my clients say to me all the time, is, look, I'm here and I know where my potential is. And this is the gap, right? Point A to point B. This is my potential. I'm here. I want to be here. And as I've said, and I'll say throughout, all we're going to do is raise your ceiling and then raise your floor. And you're just shifting from point A to point B. That is the straight line. No zigzagging, no circling. So business coaching. As I've said, you've already tried the strategies. You've learned the funnels, the content systems, the sales frameworks. You know more than enough to be further ahead than you are. So why are you stuck? Because your problem is never and never was the strategy. It was always going to be the operator. Because your problem is going to be here, your internal operating system. Business coaching assumes your internal operating system can support more growth, but it can't, not in its current form. And when I say it assumes, it's because the people making or doing a lot of this business coaching, they've upgraded their internal operating system. Like, make no mistake, some of the 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs that I know and I meet, they might not do the work that I teach, like especially not consciously. They may unconsciously still do it. Some of them still do it daily, whether I've taught them it or someone else has, or they've adapted it, but they do some form of daily training to upgrade their internal operating system. But the key point here is that when they then teach and they coach you through the business systems, the assumption is that you have upgraded your internal operating system. And it may be, well, if I just give people the information, if I coach them through the business, they will upgrade the internal operating system naturally. And sure, some do, but most of the entrepreneurs that I've met without a clear system that's structured, methodical, repeatable, and daily are unable to upgrade their internal operating system. And I know because I was one of them. Next, old way therapy. Now, I want to emphasize this here and really get across that I am not a trained therapist. This is not medical and legal advice, but here's my experience with therapy. Here's my wisdom. Here's also the way that I think about it. Therapy helps you understand why you're stuck. It explores your past, your patterns, your wounds, and that's valuable, but understanding doesn't equal change. You can have the complete insights into why you self-sabotage and still self-sabotage tomorrow. Therapy explains your patterns. Identity rewiring eliminates them. Key part here with therapy, as I've mentioned prior, is that most of it is focused on the past. It's not focused on the present, and it's not focused on your future. As entrepreneurs, we want to be grounded in the present with our sights and vision on the future, not the past. In fact, my personal opinion, and this is just a personal opinion, is what's in the past is in the past. You can go and process that trauma and do all that work, but what I teach and what I'm going through here is not about processing trauma. And I am not saying that you don't need to do that. I'm not saying that trauma isn't important, but I don't teach and guide entrepreneurs to process their trauma and to stay stuck in the past and to relive and re-traumatize themselves. We are focused on the present and we are focused on the future. Now we have identity rewiring. The reason that this works is because it doesn't work on symptoms. It works on the source. the true deepest source of yourself as an entrepreneur, as a human. It changes who you are, which is your identity, your beliefs, your emotional baseline, so that the right behaviors become automatic. You don't have to force discipline. You don't have to push through resistance. The new behaviors are just who you are. And the key point here, by the way, is that willpower will run out. Identity doesn't. Identity over time becomes automatic. It's unconscious. It's going to be invisible, and it's just going to be running your internal operating system. And this is why if we work together, or if you do this type of work, you normally will do like a 30, 90-day transformation cycle. And the key point here is that once that cycle is done, you're then going to start a new one. And you may, for example, have your internal operating system and be upgrading it for 30 to 90 days. And then when you start your new cycle, you're upgrading your identity. Because as an entrepreneur, most of us want growth. Like, we want expansion in all areas of life. Like, that's why we do this. We love growth. We love progress. We love expansion. So you're going to want to do another cycle. You're going to want to upgrade your identity. And you may return to this work. You may not do it daily, like every day, every month, for the whole year. But at some point, you're going to come back to this type of stuff and say, well, I'm ready to upgrade my internal operating system. And then as a byproduct, you're going to go out and do all the business changes you make anyway. But what I'm teaching you here is how to upgrade your internal operating system. So the easiest way to understand change is the floor and ceiling concept. Now, let me explain this so it's fully locked in for you. What I like to say is your old ceiling becomes your new floor. And that is really the internal feeling when transformation is locked in. Because right now, you know you've hit a ceiling in your business and in your life. Now, you may think it's a revenue ceiling, and obviously the numbers don't lie. You're stuck at 100K a month, 50K a month, whatever it is. No matter what you do, you can't seem to break through that 100K a month as an example. And that is a revenue ceiling, but there are internal ceilings. And as a byproduct, that leads to the revenue ceiling, but also just in general, you know, you feel stuck. The plateau, there's something isn't working. You know it inside, deep down. And my point is you have an invisible ceiling. And this does manifest in your business. Like, make no mistake, it's a cap on your revenue, your consistency, your clarity, your presence, and you're bumping up against it. You know, you can see above it, but you just can't break through. Maybe you broke through before, but then you regressed and it's just not consistent. And that's why it's a ceiling, because anyone can have like a successful day, right? Anyone can have a successful month, but consistent long-term growth is not a fluke. It's not luck. And that is your ceiling. Conversely, you have your floor. So that's why I like to say your old ceiling becomes your new floor, because you are raising your ceiling, but also more importantly, raising your floor. And that is your standards, right? So you are raising your ceiling, you're raising your floor. Because to break through a ceiling, you have to also upgrade your floor, because we don't want to break through a ceiling, a revenue ceiling for 1 month, but then regress. We don't want to break through and build a lean muscular physique or hit a certain deadlift PR, and then the next day or the following week, we can't replicate it. What I'm getting at here is sustainable long-term growth change. Most people try to push harder, more effort, more tactics, and more discipline while trying to break through a ceiling. What I invite you to think about is a paradigm shift, because this doesn't work. The ceiling isn't external. It's not just about force. It's not a wall or a door or something that you have to break through. Now, we're men, right? We love to break shit. We love to push through stuff, lift heavy things, whatever it is. Like, if it was a physical ceiling, then there'd be no issue. Just get a hammer, get whatever instrument or objects you have and just punch through and push through the ceiling. But because this is internal and it is invisible, it requires at least some understanding of the mechanism of change. And this is what we do inside the program with identity rewiring, because it doesn't just help you push through the ceiling. It's going to elevate your entire system, your entire internal operating system, which will then manifest in your business, because your old ceiling is the maximum you can sustain. And this will now eventually become your new floor. That is your standard. You are locked in. There's no questions. Doesn't matter what happens. You know with full certainty that that is your floor. That is your new baseline. And you don't just operate at that level anymore. You operate from it. And this is all you're doing every 30 or 90 days, is upgrading your internal operating system. And this is because the things that used to feel like a stretch become easy, natural, automatic. That's the shift. And I'll give you a story. This may not resonate, it may not. Like right now, if your business dropped down to 10K a month or 5K or even 12, whatever it is, everybody has a number, right? Or you went to get money out, or you check your bank account, that number that makes you think, fuck, I feel broke. Or like you look at your body and you're like, damn, I'm out of shape. Like whatever that is, like that is no longer your reality. Like you have a new current reality. Your floor then becomes that. It becomes like whatever the 10K a month is to you, or whatever the I'm broke feeling is, that's your floor. And then your ceiling is obviously what you're moving towards, but over time, you're just upgrading your floor and you're upgrading your ceiling. That is the floor and ceiling concept. And it is the best way I've found to really understand the change. Because the thing about your floor and the thing about your ceiling is it is invisible. It's not necessarily visible. Now, there will be visible signs of it. You can speak to your accountant and you can show them your revenue and profit. Like you can see in your team, their inputs, like what they're doing. You can look at your outbound, you can look at your sales and see tangible numbers. Like I want to get it clear. I'm not saying that numbers don't exist. I'm not saying that you're not going to be able to look at your business data and see the impact. Similarly, in your life, like you're not going to be able to look at the conversations you have with your wife or girlfriend. You're not going to be able to see your children and how they behave and how they react. You're going to see all of this reality, but all of that stems from your internal operating system. And I keep pointing to my head, but really your internal operating system is just you. It's everything. Like that is your frequency. It's your beliefs, thoughts, identities, feeling, emotions, intentions. Then it becomes your actions and results. But what I'm getting at here is that your internal operating system, which is invisible for the most part, is what sits underneath everything. And if you imagine that's here, that sits on top of it, your business, your life, your relationships, everything sits on top of your internal operating system. Best way to understand this really is that you have the hardware, which is you, right? The human, that is fixed. But then you have the software, the operating system, and you may have outdated programs. You may be trying to run the latest iOS on a shitty A6 Lenovo laptop. I'm a Mac guy. I haven't owned a Windows in years. Like I only buy Apple. But what I'm getting at is like you can't upgrade an internal operating system if you don't deprogram and replace outdated programs and upgrade your software, which is the installation process. So with that rambling out of the way, I'm now going to move to the daily practice. So here's how it works. And I'm going to be honest, this is a VSL. I am not going to give you the exercise because my clients pay a lot of money for this and it's also that effective. But I'll give you an understanding. So identity rewiring is a 15 to 20 minute daily practice. It's not journaling, it's not affirmations, it's not a meditation. It is a structured sequence that rewires your identity, your beliefs, and your emotional baseline every single day. And this is key. You don't go to the gym once and then you're jacked. It requires daily inputs. And here's the high level structure. Step one is a system clear. We're just going to get everything out that's a mental noise. And this is just anything on your head, anything on your mind, any tension, any stress when you wake up. Then we're going to move to your identity. Here, we are really going to choose how we want to operate from today. And this is who you are right now, this day. And you decide this. So some people get this really confused when it comes to the whole like manifestation of like, well, I'm here, I earn 30K a month. My name's Jordan. I have a girlfriend. Like they start listing out all the logical parts of like their life. And they're like, but I want to get to here. One of my clients wants to drive a McLaren. I forget the model. I'm not a car guy, but like he's like, I want to drive a McLaren. I want this. I want this. I want to be this. And it's like, but I'm here. And that's the gap. And it's like, well, yeah, just condense the gap down to here. So just right from that being here. Like don't like forget for now about like all the time, the space, or however that's going to happen. Just right from the identity you're choosing to adopt. Now it has to be a stretch identity. It still has to be. You have to feel something. There has to be some elevated emotion because elevated emotion plus clear intention is what creates transformation. So that's the identity. Next, you have your belief codes. Here, you're just going to write out the beliefs that you're running on. And when I say running on, again, we're talking about the beliefs you're now going to be running on based on your identity. Because when you come in, you're going to do an assessment, and I'm going to get a full look and lens at your operating system. We're then going to hop on a call. I'm going to go through your assessment and your operating system, and I'm going to show you and reflect back and ask you how you feel, what are your thoughts on this assessment, like are you aware, like what's your self-awareness at of all the underlying beliefs, identities, feelings and emotions, everything that really encapsulates your current internal operating system. Then we're going to build out your new upgraded internal operating system. So when you start this exercise, you're starting with the new system. You're not rerunning the old system. Like forget about the old system. That doesn't exist anymore. We're focused on the new upgraded path. This goes back to my point about therapy. We're not going to spend hours on coaching calls talking about your past, asking about why your dad didn't love you, or asking about like anything in your past. Now, it doesn't mean that your past doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it doesn't influence your current reality, but we are focused on the present and we're focused on the future. So belief codes, these really are the rules your mind operates by. We get to choose how we think, feel, and act. Okay. We've been programmed and conditioned. People have given us these invisible contracts. They've given us us beliefs. They've handed us stuff. They said, hey, here's a belief, have this. Do you want it? Do you want to believe in it? Well, yeah, I've got no choice. That's your belief. You can reclaim your power and choose your beliefs, your identities, and even your feelings and emotions. You always have a choice. And this is key. And I know if you're watching this video that you're not a victim, you don't believe you're a victim because you would have clicked away, or this wouldn't even be in your consciousness. This wouldn't even be in your awareness. Okay, next is the action. So after your belief code, we have your certainty code. Here we are locking in the outcomes you're certain of. Now, these are not what you're hopeful for. These are what you're certain of. Now, if you say, Jordan, I'm not certain, this is the point. We are going to increase your certainty and your conviction, because conviction is truly, really, 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 really important. I can't emphasize enough. That's why I said really so many times. So with the certainty code, this is what creates emotional stability and confidence. And then finally, we have your action codes. I don't need to get into this because it's pretty easy to understand, but basically you have your aligned actions and your deferred actions. And I'm not going to give the full system away, but here's what's going to happen. You're going to start the daily training, the daily practice every morning, 50 to 20 minutes, right? You're going to start to feel internal shifts immediately. Now, some clients come to me within 7-10 days and they're like, I feel fucking amazing. Like, this is amazing. And they're on a high. Some clients are like, feel really good. This is happening, but like, am I doing it right? But you are going to feel shifts if you're aware and if you're following the process. Just as if you go to the gym, you're going to feel the benefits immediately, right? Are we agreed? You work out, you feel good. There's dopamine, there's endorphins. It's a similar thing with this practice. However, that is the initial. What we truly care about here is the shifts and how you respond and what feels natural. But you're then going to see emerge over the weeks to months to the 90-day cycle, actual, tangible, practical changes in your behavior and then the results in your business and life. That is what we care about, as well as how we feel and how we think. You're going to start showing up differently in your relationships. You're going to start showing up differently with your team. Like, everything is going to change across all areas of your life. And there's obviously going to naturally be focus, right? When my clients come in, I get them to prioritize their key 10 domains. And they may say like, my mental freedom's a 2 out of 10, right? I had a client, mental freedom's 2 out of 10. And that's priority number 1. Well, immediately we know that that is something which is going to be elevated from a 2 out of 10, like unquestionably. But what I'm getting at here is that you're going to see shifts in hours to days, and then you're going to actually see the actions and behaviors and results change in weeks to months. But all you do is this daily training, this identity rewiring. It's one daily practice. Now, I have people in my network, even a friend that basically does hypnosis for high earning entrepreneurs, right? The hypnosis is incredibly effective. The reason I don't teach and guide hypnosis and I don't lead with this is because this is the most effective way to do a daily training that you can do. Because here's the thing, let's just say that I teach you and I hypnotize you, right? And then you pay me 10K, 20K, 30K, whatever for hypnotism, and I do it once. Like now you're dependent on me. Now you need me to keep hypnotizing you. What I do with this daily training is the most effective 80-20. I give this to my clients, they do it daily. And then I start to add in all of the transformation tools based on their unique situation. Like, you may come to me and say, look, I'm really struggling now with like just emotions. Like emotionally, I am just so stuck. And I know that I need to teach you and guide you to do some exercise that allows you to actually release your emotions instead of expressing them, instead of suppressing them and repressing them or trying to escape from them. But this is the 80-20. Now, in terms of benefits, here's what makes this different from everything else you've tried. This is a skill you own. I'm not trying to create dependency. I'm not trying to be your coach forever. I'm teaching you this practice. You learn it, you own it, and you use it for life without me. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't want to keep working with me. It doesn't mean that we can't still be friends. But what I'm getting at here is I don't want to create this movement, dependency where you don't have sovereignty. Most coaching creates ongoing dependency. You need the call to stay accountable. You need the check-ins to stay on track. This is different. Once you learn identity rewiring, it is yours. You can run it every morning for the rest of your life. There's no subscription, no dependency. You become the man who can hold your own transformation. And that is liberation. It's not dependency. Now, I want to get across here. What you're watching is the one-to-one. You are about to click a link, if you're open to it, to book a call to then be eligible to join the beta program and the one-to-one. This doesn't apply if you're now watching this video and you just want the educational program. What I'm getting at here is if we work together one-on-one, for the container, you're not only going to experience transformation, but you're going to have sovereignty, and you're going to be able to then continue transform, and you're going to get a system that you can run for the rest of your life to upgrade your internal operating system. Next thing, and this is the beautiful part about this work, is it affects everything. You may come to me and say, Jordan, I've hit a revenue ceiling. Now, I'm obviously in my marketing and VSL going to focus on that because that's what you care about and that's the visible ceiling. But here's the honest truth. Your internal operating system doesn't just run your business. It runs your entire life. The same system that causes you to procrastinate on sales calls is the same system that has you reaching for a drink at 9 p.m. It's the same pattern that makes you reactive with your team, that makes you reactive with your partner. The same identity that keeps you stuck at these 30, 50, 100K months is the same identity that keeps you from being present with your kids. So when you upgrade the operating system, everything upgrades. Health, fewer escape loops, better sleep, more energy, relationships, actually present, less reactive, deeper connection, mental clarity, clear thinking under pressure, less spiraling, leadership, grounded authority, team trusts you, decisions are clean, time, you control your calendar, not the other way around. And then purpose, you are aligned with what you're building. You're not trapped by it. Now, as I've mentioned, there are 10 areas of life, 10 domains, and I'm not going to bore you and give you everyone and get you to rank it, but make no mistake, nothing exists in isolation. Like, we're fully actualized human beings. We can't compartmentalize just one area of life. Now, this is one of the biggest misunderstandings, and I'm probably just going to take you out of this whole experience and just say, like, this is the issue with Western civilization and psychology, is that we think that we can just treat a symptom. You know, like, here's the symptom, here's one area of your life, let's fix it. But everything is interconnected and interrelated, and we want to focus on treating causes, not symptoms. Why I said that and what I want to get across is because by joining this program or doing any of this type of work, it's a full transformation experience. You're going to be focused on the parts that you care about or the parts you really want to work on. But make no mistake, it's not like a simple do this, my business grows, but not any other area of my life. In fact, like, my business grows, but every area of my life like declines. Everything will get elevated, because this isn't just a business upgrade, it's a life upgrade, because you can't compartmentalize a broken operator. And when I say broken, I actually hate that word. So forgive me, I shouldn't have said broken, because you are not broken. But what I'm getting at here is, like, you can't compartmentalize an operator that is stuck or feels stalled or regressed. They need to upgrade across the board. And let's just say we focus on one area through the cycle, but again, we don't, because like, the whole point is that you focus on a few areas, a few domains of life. But what I'm getting at here is that, like, you can't compartmentalize. And simply put, upgrade the man, upgrade the entrepreneur, and everything upgrades. Now, you might be wondering, why do I teach this? Because I have lived it and I've seen others live it. At 30, I was inconsistent, reactive, and internally chaotic, despite looking successful on paper, by the way. And this is a trend that I see with entrepreneurs. Like, they have the growing businesses, they have the watches, I don't know, they have the hot girl. Like, externally, they look amazing. I was at a mastermind recently and there were so many entrepreneurs, and I like to sit and observe and really let go of a lot of judgment. But I got this like gnawing sensation when I was speaking to some of the guys of like, oh, like, externally things look amazing. Like, I obviously don't know you, I don't know your life, but like, I'd assume that you're happy and feel fulfilled. But then the more I speak to you, or just what I sense, is that you're deeply unhappy inside. And I laugh, and I don't laugh from a place of like, I'm better than them, because I know what that's like. I know what it feels like. There's this massive message from certain high-level entrepreneurs, which is, I'm unhappy, my life's not fulfilling, but like, it doesn't matter. And it's like, really? Like, that's the life you want? You don't want to feel joy, you don't want to feel love, you don't want to feel purpose. Like, you're happy to be unhappy, but your business grows and that's all good. Like, that's a very survival scarcity programming. Like, and that will hold you back in your life. And that needs to be upgraded if you want to elevate yourself. And not just in your business, but in general. Like, when we're operating from survival and scarcity, and it's not just linked to how much money you make. I know entrepreneurs that make 8 figures and they're still stuck in survival, and that holds them back. And then they're unhappy and they're unfulfilled, and they're like, well, why am I unhappy and unfulfilled? And it's like, well, you're still in survival. Like, your programming conditioning is in survival. That's besides the point. So at 30, I was inconsistent, reactive, and internally chaotic, despite looking successful on paper. Within a year of developing and applying this practice, everything changed. Now, it didn't even take a year. It took days, weeks, months, but I want to get it across in a year. I met my wife, I transformed my body, I built a business that actually works for me, not against me. And this wasn't because I worked harder, it's because I became a different man. And now I've spent years refining this into a system I can teach. Key point here, and just a story to illustrate, is that I'm older than probably most of you watching this. I know I look young, I've got a baby face. I did a lot of internal work, and then when I started my business, the first business, I found it so easy, and it grew pretty quickly, and everyone was like, what did you do? What program programs did you do? And obviously I took programs, but the honest truth is that like I'd done all the internal work. And there's so many high level entrepreneurs that some of them do admit it, right? They do say, look, like I did all this internal work. I meditated, I read a book a week and all this. And then I started my business and this is how my businesses grew so quick. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm saying I'm going to condense this and teach you it. So then your business can grow quick and you can shorten the window of the suffering and pain and growth and figuring it out. I'm going to shorten this for you. I'm going to help you with the direction of getting from point A to point B. And we're going to increase the speed, the certainty, and the power of getting from point A to point B. That's what I do. That's what I guide people through. As I said, I've been in a room with 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs. I'm friends with some of them. It's not like I'm this multi-6-figure business owner and I think I'm amazing and I think that like everything I touch turns to gold and that like I don't have any actual experience or feedback. Like I am friends with these people. I know them. I've interacted with so many different of them. Like one of my like kind of superhuman powers is being able to understand and analyze socially because like as a young kid, as I mentioned, like with school and stuff, like, I was a shy, awkward kid, like definitely on the autistic spectrum. And I had to figure this all out. Like it didn't come naturally to me is what I'm saying. All of that to say, I've been in the rooms with 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, masterminds, private dinners, off the record conversations. And here's what I've noticed. The ones who are truly successful, not just making money, but actually enjoying their lives, they all credit the same thing: internal work. They might not admit it, but it's what they credit. It's not the tactics, it's not the funnels, it's not the latest strategy. The work they did on themselves, their identity, their emotional regulation, their internal architecture. That's the edge that no one is talking about publicly, or at least not in the circles that we both run in. Because it's not sexy to say, I do a daily practice that rewires my identity. It's just not. Like is in that stuff is not what excites people. It's not what grows their business. Like it's not what gets them from 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 9 to 10, whatever they're trying to do. But I don't care. It's the truth. And it's what I'm working on and what I guide entrepreneurs to do, because I care about effective, long-term, sustainable transformation and change, both for myself and for anyone that I work with. That's why I don't do anything business related. If you join the program, if you coach and work one-on-one with me, like there's not a module, there's not a program on funnels and systems. Like all that information is out there. With AI now, let's be honest, like the differentiator between one entrepreneur and another is not information. It's always going to be transformation, and that is linked to your internal operating system. Here is what I built. It's called Internal Operating System Upgrade. It's a 90-day container where I personally teach you identity rewiring and help you install it as your new operating system. Here's what you get: one-on-one rewiring sessions. These are deep, personalized transformation work on your specific patterns. Daily iOS training. It starts with the 15 to 20 minute practice, which we're going to use every day. Now, it doesn't stay there. There are so many trainings, so many tools that I've developed over the years that have been given to me, because I probably didn't mention this, but I've spent and invested thousands in my own education and learning and transformation. And I've worked with the elite of the elite in their fields. I don't like to name names right now, but if you and I have a private conversation, I can tell you who I've been coached by, who I've worked with, and what I've done. But all of that to say, you get the daily iOS training and additional trainings. You get unlimited support, and this is real-time guidance when patterns surface. And you get your personal iOS blueprint. This is your internal operating system assessment. Based on everything that we discuss and then everything you give me in terms of information, you're going to get a complete document assessment tailored to your identity, your patterns, and goals. Now, this is your assessment, and it's self-awareness. And if you're self-aware, it's going to help with the self-awareness. And like, I don't just give you the assessment and then that's it, because self-awareness is the first stage of transformation. There are tons of people that are self-aware, but they still repeat in the same circles and loops. But I give you it, and it's incredibly effective and valuable, and you're going to go through it, and it's going to provide a lot of clarity for you. But that blueprint that you get is backed by the training and then the rewiring sessions, and you also get the integration and reinforcement. Now, this isn't a course, it's not a group program, this isn't available to 500 people. Right now, it is only available to the next 5 people, especially at the price. This is not false scarcity. This is what you're going to get, and it's only available to the next 5 people. We're just about to finish the beta program, then the price goes up, and then it's on the cohort. So this is one-to-one, and this is genuine. I'm not just saying this. Like, I don't know what the one-on-one's going to be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, but I know the price is going up and I know it's changing, but this is the current offer. Okay. So it's direct, it's personalized, it's high touch work, because that's what actually creates change. Now, you're a busy entrepreneur. I offer you the support and I give you the training. Like, you can go on holiday and vacation and not speak to me and you'll still experience a transformation, but all of that is available. I am there when you need me. Now, Who is this for? If you're doing 30, 100K a month, but you feel internally capped, now you can be doing more, but really that is the sweet spot I found with this container. If you're doing less, like I'll be honest with you, like just consume the free content, just go through everything I'm doing. And then when you're ready, this will be right for you. And I do want to help you and guide you, but right now I just don't have a way of doing it other than the free content. You know what to do, but you can't do it consistently. You've tried coaching, tactics, and discipline, yet you're still stuck. You're tired of standing strong, then collapsing. Your business success hasn't created internal freedom. You're ready to fix the root, not keep treating symptoms. If that's you, then keep listening. Now, who this is not for. If you're looking for another business strategy, business program, then please click off the video, go away, go find someone that teaches that and is going to help you with that. And nothing but love from me, like no judgment, but this is not what this is. If you want someone to fix your problems for you, I'll be honest, like there are some entrepreneurs that are so needy and they're just so entitled. Like they just think, okay, I paid 5K, 10K, 20K for a program. Like you're now my therapist. You must fix me. I'm broken. All that. This is not that. You're not broken. You want change and transformation. I'm guiding you. I'm helping you. I'm bringing awareness, but I'm not going to fix problems for you. I'm going to teach you and guide you on how to move through and transcend and upgrade your internal operating system, but it requires you to do the work. You're not willing to commit 15 to 20 minutes a day. That's the truth. If you can't put 15 to 20 minutes into this work, which is the internal work, which has the biggest impact on your life, then I don't know what to tell you. And then simply put, and if you're watching this far, I know it's not you, but I'll just say it, you're going to blame external circumstances for your results. You're going to be a victim. You're going to look at everything. You're going to blame the government. You're going to blame, basically you're going to blame everyone other than yourself. And it's not even blame, but you're a victim. If you're a victim, please click away. Again, no judgment, but like this is not for you. Now, if this resonates and you stuck with me, you've gone through this, here's what I want you to do. I want you to book a diagnostic call. This is a sales call, but it's not like a sales call that you're used to. I'm not going to get you onto the call and I'm not going to start asking you like budget, authority, need, timeline. I'm not going to hard sell you. I'm not going to create any false scarcity. Like I'm not going to do any of the unethical ways that a lot of people in info sell. But what I am going to do is have a conversation with you. And by having a conversation, I'm going to, again, share the program, the offer, what it is, what you could sign up for. And I'm going to provide enough value. I'll give you some information and some coaching on your internal ceiling, your specific patterns, and whether this is the right fit or not. There's no pressure, no pitch. This is just pure clarity. If it's a fit, we move forward. If it's not, you'll hear that clearly. That is my promise to you, because what I want is for your old ceiling to become your new floor and for you to upgrade your internal operating system. And if that sounds good, I'll see you on the call.